Hello everyone and welcome to Inderes TV. Starbreeze published its Q1 earnings result yesterday, and here with me to discuss it I have the new CEO of Starbreeze, Adolf Christiansson. Welcome to Inderes TV.
Thank you.
And since you're new here to the Inderes channel, could you start by introducing yourself, tell us a bit about your background, and also what attracted you to become the new CEO of Starbreeze?
Yeah, I've been in the gaming industry for more than 25 years. I'm from Iceland originally. I've lived and worked across 2 continents, 6 different countries. Started in the retail industry, which was mostly about change management, and where I was running about 100 retail stores, 2 head offices, etc. I then came to EA, where I was first brought into an alignment role of our sales organization, and then I built the digital business from ground up. It was when the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 were coming out. There was an amazing opportunity there in terms of shifting from the traditional packaged goods to digital. That was a lot of fun. We built a digital team over 4 continents. And over the last 4 years at EA, what I was involved in and built, I built global commercial strategies for many of the most famous franchises in the industry.
And what attracted you to become the CEO of Starbreeze?
Well, what attracted me to stock was clearly not the weather, but it was actually quite funny. When I was at EA and we were starting on that digital journey, I think the share price was about 13 at that point, fairly low. We had a meeting with an investor, and key investor at EA. And he told us essentially what we need to do to bring up the share price and how to make things, get the company back on track. It was all about stop messing things up. He actually used a much stronger language than that, but I believed him then, and about 5-6 years later, we had brought this share price up to about 140. So it was a quite big improvement in terms of the market cap of the company. And I feel the same situation with Starbreeze. I think there's an immense opportunity here. It's one of the most iconic studios in Stockholm. Great track record, amazing employees. So I think there's a incredible opportunity at hand here.
And if we talk about the latest Q1 earnings result that came yesterday, what were the highlights in the report?
Yeah, I mean, the highlights were that in terms of Payday 2 and Payday 3, we had a good growth in terms of revenue, way above what we had forecasted. We had some cash flow impact just due to phasing, which was because of our negotiations with PLAION. It was also an impact from last year where we had a benefit, one-off benefit in terms of cash flow, but in general it's non-relevant. But I think it was a very solid quarter, but it's definitely not where we want to be. So I look forward, watch the space in terms of how we will progress in the future.
All right. And I think we could also talk about last week's news about you acquiring the full publishing rights for Payday 3 from PLAION. Could you talk about what drove that decision and also what benefits that you see come with it going forward?
Yes. We have a big vision for the Payday franchise. We feel that it's one of these iconic franchises that is probably currently is a little bit below the surface, hasn't really reached its full potential yet. There is incredible interest in the franchise in terms of transmedia. So in terms of TV shows, movies, graphical novels, comics, etc. And to be able to do that, you can't have any pledges or anything against the IP. Nobody wants to touch the franchise in that case. That was one part of it. Try to get the freedom to do whatever we want to do with franchise. The second part of it is that we wanted to build out a publishing function internally. It is more profitable to do so, but it also allows you to develop and release content much quicker. So there's a lot of benefits to this, and it gives you the freedom to take the franchise in any direction like of your choosing.
And alongside that announcement, you also revealed a directed share issue of approximately 30 million SEK that was subscribed by Embracer Group, which is the parent company of PlayOn. Could you provide some context for that move? And also, what role do you see Embracer playing as a shareholder of Starbreeze?
Yes, I mean, as with our friends at PlayOn, we have been talking to Lars at Embracer as well. Lars is an old friend from my time at Game, and I was very happy that he wanted to come on board. It's fantastic for the company to have an industry investor. And I think it shows belief in the company. It shows that what we think about the company, what we believe, is actually vetted by Embracer in this case. They are a strong believer in our franchise and the company, so that's why they're doing this. I think it's very, very positive. My hope is that we can get more investors into the company, 2 or 3 big investors as well, so we can start to build and execute the plans that we have for the company.
And I thought we could talk more about Payday 3, and so far we haven't seen a clear forward-looking plan or roadmap for 2025. Can you share some updates or behind-the-scenes developments that players and investors can expect for the rest of 2025?
Yeah. I was a part of the Battlefield 2042 team where we didn't have a dissimilar situation. You know, the community was super unhappy. The game was not what they had expected. And we had to repair that sentiment over time by doing the right things. So far, I think we haven't done that. I mean, the game itself is in a much better place than it was. It is fun to play, but we have some fundamental issues that we want to address. Partly what you referred to in terms of the content, and maybe that we haven't been there was a gap in terms of content releases. That was partly due to the negotiations with PlayOn. But we are releasing an amazing piece of content at the end of this month, and we're working with the team in terms of laying out a strong roadmap for Payday 3 for the rest of the year and into 2026. We are fully committed to the franchise. We want to do a lot of fun things with it, and I think our community will be very happy to see our plans for it. Many people thought when I was coming on board, many of our community thought when I was coming on board, I would add just monetization everywhere in terms of the franchise. That is not the intent. The intent here is to build out an experience which is fun for everyone to play. And of course, when we have laid out this pipeline of content, which I'm sure people will like a lot, then we want to communicate that with specific dates and commit to them. And that is the only way to build forward. Because what we want to do as well is to look to the future in terms of what payday could become. And I think that's very important. And to do that, we need to get a momentum in terms of our payday experiences.
And when it comes to Project Baxter, we know that there has been ongoing dialogues and game tests with potential partners for a while. Could you share some updates lately on that front?
So what a fantastic license to work on. I mean, D&D is one of the most iconic licenses that's out there. Our teams are hard work in terms of building out Project Baxter. When I came and started to play test, we have daily play tests now. So when I came in and started to play them, it was fairly rough experience. And the demo we showed our potential partners was rough. Over the last 6 weeks, the team has now been building what we call a vertical slice. Vertical slice is essentially a snapshot of what the game will become. It's almost a level you can play and gives you the feel for the fun and how engaging the game is. And so the latest play test, I think, which I played was a few days ago, and it looks absolutely incredible. It's a lot of fun to play, especially when played co-op. It's a bad idea to play that solo, but co-op, there's a lot of really interesting mechanisms when it comes to that. Graphically and sound-wise, everything is coming together extremely well. It's looking very polished. So when this is done now, at the end of May, we are going to take this to our potential publishing partners, or marketing partners, or even development partners, and see what they say. I'm very confident that we have something which they will like a lot, and we'll take it from there. But I'm a big believer in the project. And it doesn't take, this project is a great learning opportunity for our developers, but it doesn't take away our focus for the payday franchise. We are fully committed and really want to drive that forward as well.
And if we get back to you, you have been the CEO for a little bit over a month now. What will be your top priority going forward when it comes to Starbreeze?
Yeah, so the priority list looks like it is at the moment, so I'm trying to boil it down. I think it's very important that the company is one, right? We're one company, we're one team. Very important. So that probably takes a bit to get there, because we've gone through some changes in the past. The second to that, I want the company to create games and develop games with the players at the center. What does that mean? That means that every single decision we make, whether it's a business decision or a game decision or a marketing decision, we always go through that lens. What do our players feel about that? We had a discussion about Nebula, our login process into Payday 3 yesterday. And that was the first lens we took that through. Is it beneficial to our players to have this in place? And it kind of set the setting in terms of where you go from there. So that's the second. The third, I believe we need to look into our development processes. There are so many things happening in that space at the moment, with the introduction of new technologies, partly AI, less generative AI, but more in terms of how you code the games. You can see some of the studios who have been releasing games recently are studios of 35 and outsourcing part of the development. So I think we need to learn from that. We need to become a studio that is doing things, which is developing games and utilizing, advanced technologies, so we can become better. not in terms of just being cost effective, but also in terms of developing in the engines, the gaming engines that are in the forefront of the industry. That's where I want us to get to. I think that those are probably the ones that are highest on my agenda at this moment in time. But as I said, the list is long, and I'm sure there will be few things popping up along the way. And of course, to bring payday back, it's extremely important we get payday to where it needs to be.
And finally, if you're looking ahead a bit, what do you think investors should be watching when it comes to Starbreeze in the coming quarters?
We have an incredible group of investors. They are many. I think we have about 35,000 investors in the company. It has become almost like the darling of people who want to buy few shares to be with us on the journey. And I think part of that is they believe in our franchises, and they believe in our in terms of they believe in the journey that we are going on, not necessarily where we have been. But a studio that has been around as long as Starbreeze, it goes through these ebbs and flows, and that's normal. Every studio has done that. So it asks our investors to be patient, continue to invest. I think there's a great opportunity still in the company. My hope is that when we stop messing around, like I said before, like the investor at EA, the advice he gave us, I think that is essentially relevant here. We should stop messing around. We are now doing that. We're streamlining the company. We're making sure that we build for our future. And we really want people to follow us on that journey. And I'm pretty sure we can add value to them as well as our employees and our stakeholders.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and thank you for watching.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.